This story is titled, My Partner Secretly Invited His Ex to Live with Us, so I packed his bags and ended the relationship. Hi, my name is Caroline, and I'm 29 years old. I live in a quiet little suburb in the United States, where I thought I had built the perfect life with my boyfriend Jake. At least, that's what I believed, until everything fell apart in the most unimaginable way. When Jake and I first moved in together, I thought it was the beginning of a beautiful chapter in our relationship. We had been dating for 3 years, and everything seemed perfect. Jake was charming, supportive, and always knew how to make me laugh. Sure, we had our ups and downs like any couple, but I never doubted that he was committed to me. At least, not until she entered the picture. Her name was Amanda, Jake's ex-girlfriend. He had told me about her when we first started dating. They had been together for a few years, but broke up amicably. According to Jake, there was no lingering drama or unresolved feelings. Amanda's in the past, he'd told me with a reassuring smile. You're my future, Caroline. I believed him. I had no reason not to. But that all changed one fateful afternoon. It started with a text. I was home alone, scrolling through my phone, when Jake messaged me. Hey babe, heads up, Amanda might stop by later. She's going through a rough time and needs a place to crash for a few nights. My heart dropped. I read the message over and over again, trying to make sense of it. Why would Jake think it was okay to invite his ex-girlfriend to stay with us? I replied, keeping my tone as neutral as possible. Why does she need to stay here? Doesn't she have friends or family she can go to? Jake's response came quickly. She's in between jobs and got evicted. It's just temporary, babe. I couldn't say no. She's got nobody else. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling a mix of anger and disbelief. Jake hadn't even asked me if I was okay with this. He had already made the decision without consulting me, as if my opinion didn't matter. When Jake came home that evening, I confronted him. Jake, I don't think it's appropriate for Amanda to stay here. She's your ex. This is our home, and I don't feel comfortable with this. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Caroline, you're overthinking this. Amanda's just a friend now. She needs help, and I couldn't turn her away. It's not a big deal. But it was a big deal. To me, at least. I told him I wasn't comfortable with the arrangement, but Jake brushed off my concerns, saying I was being jealous and insecure. I'd do the same for any of my friends, he said, his tone dismissive. You're blowing this out of proportion. Despite my protests, Amanda moved in the very next day. I tried to be civil. I didn't want to come across as petty or unreasonable, so I welcomed her as politely as I could. She seemed friendly enough, but there was something about her that didn't sit right with me. She was too comfortable. Within hours of arriving, Amanda acted as if she owned the place. She spread her belongings across the guest room, helped herself to food in the kitchen, and even started leaving her toiletries in our bathroom. Jake, of course, didn't see a problem with any of it. He seemed happy to have Amanda around, laughing and reminiscing about old times. Watching them together made my stomach churn, but I told myself I was being paranoid. Jake loved me, not her. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. But the situation only got worse. Amanda's few nights turned into a week, and then 2. She didn't seem to be in any hurry to leave, and Jake didn't seem to mind. In fact, he went out of his way to make her feel at home. One evening, I came home from work to find the two of them sitting on the couch, watching a movie together. They were sharing a bowl of popcorn, laughing and leaning a little too close for comfort. Hey, Caroline, Jake said casually when he saw me. We're just watching one of Amanda's favorite movies from back in the day. You want to join us? I felt like a stranger in my own home. No, thanks, I said, forcing a smile before retreating to the bedroom. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with questions and doubts. Why was Jake so eager to help Amanda? Why did she seem so comfortable here? And why did I feel like I was the one intruding in my own relationship? I tried to voice my concerns to Jake again, but he shut me down every time. You're reading too much into this, he said. Amanda's just a friend. Stop making this into something it's not. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. As the days turned into weeks, Amanda's presence in our home became unbearable. She didn't contribute anything. No rent, no groceries, not even a thank you. She lounged around the house all day, binge-watching shows, and leaving her mess everywhere. Worse, Jake acted like her personal butler. He catered to her every need, fetching her coffee, cooking her meals, and driving her around town. It was as if I had been demoted in my own relationship while Amanda took center stage. The final straw came one evening when I overheard a conversation that made my blood run cold. I had just returned from the grocery store and was heading to the kitchen when I heard Jake and Amanda talking in the living room. "Jake, I don't think Caroline likes me being here," Amanda said, her voice low but smug. "She'll get over it," Jake replied dismissively. "You're going through a tough time. You need a place to stay, and I'm not going to let her dictate who I can help." "That's sweet of you," Amanda said, her tone dripping with fake gratitude. "You've always been so good to me, better than anyone else ever was." There was a pause, and then Amanda added something that sent chills down my spine. "Sometimes I wonder if we should have stayed together. We were really good, you know?" My heart pounded in my chest as I strained to hear Jake's response. "Amanda," he said, his voice hesitant. I couldn't take it anymore. I stormed into the living room, dropping the grocery bags on the floor. "What is going on here?" I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. Jake and Amanda both jumped, looking guilty as if I had caught them red-handed. "Caroline, it's not what it looks like," Jake stammered, standing up. "Oh, really?" "Because it looks like you two are having a cozy little reunion while I'm being treated like a third wheel in my own home." Amanda smirked, crossing her arms. "You're overreacting, Caroline. We were just talking." "Stay out of this," I snapped, glaring at her. I turned back to Jake. "I've had enough of this, Jake. I told you I wasn't comfortable with Amanda staying here, and you didn't listen. You've ignored my feelings, disrespected me, and now I'm supposed to believe there's nothing going on between you two?" Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking frustrated. "Caroline, you're making this into something it's not. Amanda's my friend. That's all." "Friends don't talk about how they should have stayed together," I shot back, my voice rising. "Do you even hear yourself? You've been prioritizing her over me for weeks. If you can't see how wrong this is, then maybe you're not the person I thought you were." Amanda rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on, Caroline. Don't be so dramatic. You're acting like a jealous high school girl." I turned to her, fury burning in my chest. "You don't get to speak to me like that in my own home. This isn't your house. You don't belong here." Amanda opened her mouth to respond, but I held up a hand to stop her. "Pack your things and get out. I'm done with this." "Caroline, wait," Jake said, stepping between us. "You can't just kick her out. She has nowhere to go." "Then you can go with her," I said coldly. "If Amanda staying here is more important to you than our relationship, then you can pack your bags too." The room fell silent. Jake stared at me, his mouth opening and closing as he struggled to find the words to defend himself. Amanda looked smug, as if she thought I wouldn't follow through with my ultimatum. But I was done being disrespected. "Fine," Jake finally said, his voice quiet. "If that's how you feel, then I'll leave." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything we had been through, Jake was choosing Amanda over me. "Good," I said, my voice trembling. "You've made your choice. Now go." Jake and Amanda packed their things and left that night. Watching them walk out the door was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I knew it was the right decision. For weeks afterward, I felt a mix of relief and heartbreak. It wasn't easy letting go of someone I had loved for so long, but I couldn't stay in a relationship where I wasn't valued or respected. In the days following Jake and Amanda's departure, my emotions were all over the place. I felt hurt, betrayed, and angry, but most of all, I felt free. The weight of their toxic presence in my life had been lifted, and for the first time in weeks, I could finally breathe. I spent the next few days reclaiming my space. I cleaned every corner of the apartment, throwing out anything that reminded me of Jake or Amanda. It felt therapeutic, like I was wiping away the remnants of their betrayal. But as much as I tried to move forward, there was one thing that continued to haunt me. How had I not seen this coming? How could Jake, the man I had trusted and loved, have chosen someone like Amanda over me? My friends were furious when they heard what had happened. "You deserve so much better," my best friend Lisa told me over coffee one afternoon. "Jake showed you who he really is, and honestly, you're better off without him." Lisa's words gave me comfort, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed closure. I needed answers. A few weeks later, I got my chance. I ran into Jake at the grocery store. He was alone, and the sight of him made my stomach twist. I hadn't seen or spoken to him since the night he left, and I wasn't sure I was ready to face him. But Jake spotted me before I could turn away. "Caroline," he said, walking toward me. "Can we talk?" I hesitated for a moment before nodding. We stepped outside, and Jake looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "I owe you an apology," he began. "For everything. For not listening to you, for disrespecting your feelings, and for letting Amanda stay as long as she did. I crossed my arms, trying to keep my emotions in check. Why did you do it, Jake? Why did you choose her over me? Jake sighed, running a hand through his hair. I didn't mean to choose her. I thought I was just helping out a friend, but I let things get out of hand. Amanda manipulated me, Caroline. She made me feel guilty, like I owed her something. I was stupid for falling for it. His words didn't bring me the comfort I had hoped for. Instead, they made me angrier. So you let her manipulate you at the expense of our relationship? Do you even realize how much that hurt me, Jake? I know, he said quietly, and I hate myself for it. You didn't deserve any of that. I shook my head, my voice trembling. You didn't just hurt me, Jake. You made me feel like I didn't matter, like our relationship didn't matter. Jake looked down, guilt written all over his face. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know how sorry I am. You deserved better, and I'm sorry I couldn't be that for you. As much as I wanted to hate him, I could see the regret in his eyes. But his apology didn't change what had happened, and it didn't change the fact that I could never trust him again. I appreciate the apology, I said, my voice firm. But it doesn't change anything. I've moved on, Jake, and I think you should too. He nodded, looking like he wanted to say more, but knew it wouldn't make a difference. Take care, Caroline. You too, I said, walking away without looking back. That conversation was the closure I needed. It reaffirmed that I had made the right decision by ending things with Jake. He may have realized his mistakes, but it was too little, too late. Over the next few months, I focused on rebuilding my life. I poured my energy into my career, spent more time with my friends, and even picked up a new hobby: painting. It became a way for me to channel my emotions and find peace. And slowly but surely, I began to heal. One day, I received a text from Lisa. I have someone I want you to meet. Trust me, he's perfect for you. I was hesitant at first. After everything that had happened, I wasn't sure I was ready to open my heart again. But Lisa was persistent, and eventually I agreed to go on a blind date. That's how I met Ethan. From the moment we met, Ethan was everything Jake wasn't: kind, considerate, and genuinely interested in getting to know me. He listened to me, respected my boundaries, and never made me feel like I had to compete for his attention. It took time for me to let my guard down, but Ethan was patient. He understood my hesitations and never pressured me to move faster than I was comfortable with. As our relationship grew, I realized that what I had with Jake wasn't real love. It was convenience. With Ethan, I felt truly valued and cared for, and for the first time in a long time, I was genuinely happy. Looking back, I'm grateful for what happened with Jake and Amanda. It was painful, yes, but it taught me an important lesson about self-worth and standing up for myself. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's that you should never settle for someone who doesn't appreciate you. Life is too short to waste on people who don't value your worth. To my viewers, if you've ever been in a situation like mine, know that you deserve better. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and walk away from toxic relationships. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you next time.